We are back here at the Los Caballeros Sports Village, Fountain Valley, California, for the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball. My name is Dave Vincent, alongside David Fink for the men's finals here in the great Pacific Southwest. 8 o'clock in the morning here, Dave, where this is a very early start for the men's pro singles finals, and you see the guys a little late getting to the court here, but kind of rightly so as well, because it's 8 o'clock. I mean, there's not, you know how traffic jams are here in Southern California. There's no jam.
No.
I mean, we drove here in record time, 11 minutes, 57 seconds on the clock from the beach.
Luis Moreno, Dave, in the court now. This is a repeat of last year's final, which was a real dud. You remember it was highly anticipated and for whatever reason just didn't really pan out. Paul Brady winning that match in 23 minutes. They played again 2 weeks later in Tucson at Luis Moreno's home club, and it was 15-14, 15-14, Paul Brady winning. So much more competitive there. Based on what we've seen here this week, Dave, I think we both expect a very close match. Paul Brady taking a quick drink of Gatorade. He's the 5-time defending world champion. Just won his 5th 2 months ago in Calgary at the World Handball Championships. Luis Moreno has been probably his greatest rival, if you can say Paul Brady has a rival, since Luis beat Paul Brady at this event on this court in 2008 as just an 18-year-old. Hasn't replicated that feat since, but he is one of 2 players to have defeated Paul Brady in the last 12 years.
Yeah, so Moreno, you would say, is his top rival, but then yesterday, Paul Brady was challenged just a little bit as he lost the first game 14-21, came back and defeated Sean Lenning 21-15, and then the tiebreaker was 11-2. So Paul Brady did go to 1 tiebreaker in this tournament. Luis Moreno's been to 2 tiebreakers in this tournament. But Paul Brady's also playing doubles, where he's the final victim here today later with his doubles partner Emma Pichot. So he has maybe a little bit more court time than does Luis Moreno. And you feel there's sort of a tables have turned sort of scenario. This is usually Luis Moreno who plays the doubles, and he has the more court time. It was Moreno who decided to go back home and maybe ice down at the hotel and relax while Paul Brady was here late last night. And last year it was sort of the opposite, where Moreno stuck around and was refereeing matches, and he was very visible, I should say, down at the club. And it was Brady who went missing.
Well, a couple of points there. I'm not sure that Brady does have more court time than Luis. Luis played a 2.5-hour match against Nash and then a 2.5-hour match against Robbie McCarthy, so that's 5 hours right there. Brady's matches, with the exception of Sean Lenning, which took an hour and 40 minutes, have been under 40 minutes. So in total, maybe the same, but I've heard both these guys talk, and they say, I get looser as the tournament goes on, so maybe that doubles has actually helped Brady get even looser, because we've seen Paul Brady and Luis Moreno playing their best matches in the finals when they already have a lot of shots under their belt.
And some people could say, well, Brady played doubles, but he didn't do anything, unless you actually watched him play doubles last night, where he was, like a man on fire at the end of game number 1, went on an absolute tear. Also, he dove a couple times last night, which makes you believe that he actually wants to win that trophy just as much as he wants to win this one. I'm not saying it's necessarily going to affect him, but how does it affect a guy like Luis Moreno, who is trying to focus and act more like a Paul Brady? Does that take him out of his element? Because that's certainly not how he's ever played before, never how he prepped before.
As far as the added concentration?
Yeah. Does that something, like, remember in the old days, Dave Chapman lost a lot of weight and got into shape for the big Ultimate Showdown.
I see what you're saying.
And it took him out of his element. He said, that's not who I was. I tried to be somebody I wasn't.
Well, I've seen Luis Moreno very focused in the past. Remember, he does have 9 Race for 8 titles, and he wasn't refereeing and hanging out at the club for most of those. So he was going off and doing what he needed to do to get himself ready. I think he's got himself in a good frame of mind here this week, and just judging by his body language this morning, particularly compared to last year before the final, he certainly looks a lot more prepared for this match. Now, sometimes all the best preparation against Paul Brady goes out the window quickly if he attacks you with that amazing offense and all-around game, and all the visualization that you do has just sort of been completely ruined. But we'll see. I mean, Luis Moreno, much like Sean Lenning, has the kind of game that can put pressure on Paul Brady, and if he's able to do that, then we could see a great match.
You're watching this live coverage courtesy of the World Players of Handball, WPH Live TV on ESPN3, streaming at the Watch ESPN app. It's finals day at the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball. Up first in the men's four-wall, it's the domination. Paul Brady, he's been dominating the sport for over a decade and fresh off his 5th consecutive world championship. Irish star, the gunner, Paul Brady. He comes in here at Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball, facing one of his biggest foes. His opponent, one of the few to defeat him during his reign atop the handball world. From Tucson, Arizona, Luis Moreno has been knocking at the door and looking to unseat the champion. It's Brady versus Moreno for the Open title right here on the show court at the Los Caballeros Sports Village, Fountain Valley, California, where the show court, we will see when we look back, is it starting to get filled up? Yeah, Dave, it has. And this is kind of surprising.
Yeah.
We looked at the crowd numbers and the overflow room. We have another TV section out here where people are clamoring to get the best seats there as well. And it really has been packed this whole week.
This is very likely, Dave, the most exciting matchup in the sport. And fans are going to get their money's worth here today. You see a lot of junior players, Dave, who just idolize these guys. That junior group that you saw, Dave, is from Juarez, Mexico, sponsored by the World Players of Handball. They're able to travel to all these events, and they'll be participating in a World Players of Handball junior clinic later this morning. They're very excited about that.
You see the great Fred Lewis on the right there. Daniel Cordova's father, our referee's father there, dead center. There's Fred Lewis and Katrina Casey. Andy Onate watching, and there's Nadi Alvarado, our tournament host. Players with an extended warm-up time here because of the early entry into the club. I mean, the club doesn't really even open until 8 o'clock in the morning, so you can't really say to a professional athlete, you need to get down here and start playing at 8 when they don't open the doors until 8. Now, they did open up a little bit early for this tournament at 7:30, but it's still, even then, it's kind of pushing it. Very difficult to get in and prepare like you normally would, but we're about ready to get started here. And boy, that Alvarado crew and the bike family, they've really done a good job putting this whole thing together. You see how well organized it is. Everyone's wearing their tournament shirts, and registration desk to hospitality has been really superb here at the Simple Green U.S. Open.
And much like the WPH, Dave, everyone's a director here. That seems to produce some great results.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here's the announcement from our referee.
Open Simple Green Finals. Serving first from Tucson, Arizona, ranked number 2 pro, Luis Moreno.
Hands together for Luis Moreno from Tucson, Arizona, wearing the red headband.
Returning serve from County Cavan, Ireland, current world champion, Paul Brady.
World champion 5 times removed. That's a span of 15 years as the reigning number 1.
0 serving 0.
And our referee, Danny Cordova, and 0-0. Moreno has the first serve, Dave. What was the referee? Somebody made a noise up there.
Well, the referee thought about calling the screen, and he changed his mind.
1 serving 0.
Didn't affect the play.
Short. Second serve.
Moreno looks engaged.
Hit him.
Luis hit that incredible ace last night to close out Robbie McCarthy down the right
2
wall.
serves.
Ball checked up and bounced twice just before the back wall.
Oh, look at that serve.
Point.
Very similar to that.
Very close.
2 serving 0. Short.
Dave, it's literally like a kill shot when they serve the
Second
ball
serve.
that low. That is amazing right there. That's an unbelievable serve.
Serving 0.
Great start here for Luis.
Fields the serve. I think he had a good look at it. Second serve.
And Dave, we saw this last night a couple of times in the women's final. Players just stopping and thinking they're going to get the call. You're better off just playing it and appealing the serve if you lose the rally. It's a big risk.
Boy, Paul almost got fooled on that return of serve there.
Well, if I'm Luis, I'm taking notes of how Paul reacted to that serve. Didn't look comfortable.
Side out. Zero, serving 3.
Paul put on a serving clinic yesterday. Wow.
Yeah.
Point.
Luis read that, and you know, most guys don't even get their hand on that, but even though Luis did get his hand on it, just about impossible to return. We've seen Luis, Dave, time and time again in this event, use that overhand fist with a reverse and run the ball straight down the right wall. It's just an amazing shot. And it's working very well for him this week. And Dave, that's what frustrates Luis's coach, Fred Lewis. He took the first strike attempt and didn't move his feet. He stood flat-footed and lost control of the rally. Flat-footed again on that back wall drive from Paul. He's going to have to keep his feet moving and get himself behind the ball. That's the only way he'll be able to stay with Paul Brady throughout a 2 out of 3 game match.
Point.
And once again, Dave, not enough adjustment steps from Luis, and he makes an easy error.
Short.
So you think about it, Dave, Luis has played extremely well to earn those 3 points, but yet he's just given Brady 2 points now.
Second serve. Point.
Now, altogether a 3 here. I used to think that Nadia Alvarado had the best serve in professional handball, and then I felt it was Luis Moreno and then Sean Winning possibly, but now I think it's Paul Brady. And I don't know if it's even a question. Great camera angle of those sunglasses.
Side out.
You know, you talk to the pro players, and the vast majority of them will recognize Paul Brady as being the best at virtually every shot in the game.
Thank you. Point. Four, serving 3. Point.
Now 2 quick points here for Luis Moreno. You're watching the men's final.
3.
Best 2 out of 3 to 21. Breaker to 11. And there's another ace serve there from Luis Moreno. And just like that, though, Dave, 3 straight very quick points from Luis Moreno. Now 6-3.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of long rallies seemingly resulting in side outs, and the shortest rallies seem to be leading to points.
Well, we have a lot of aces here between the two. 4 ace serves out of 9 points.
Short, side out.
And a double fault there.
Well, you remember, Dave, that Luis Moreno averaging 1.6 double faults per match, which is 1.2 more than any other pro. The pro average is 0.2 double faults. 1 double fault every 5 matches. In this tournament, Dave,
Point.
Luis Moreno averaging 4.5 double faults per match.
4 serving 6. Replay. Nope. Side out.
A referee changes his call there wisely.
6 serving 4.
I like that, Dave.
You're right. He didn't even go for it, but it should have been.
Nice dig there for Moreno. Big setup here for Luis.
Point.
And he gets a point.
7 serving 4. Side out.
Both guys with some tremendous
4 serving
right hand
7.
back wall kills. You'll watch Paul take this revolving door. That's right out of the textbook, Dave.
Point. 5 serving 7. Short. Second serve.
Wow,
Side
nice
out.
reverse there from Luis Moreno. Dave, as a lefty, when you see a non-lefty hit a reverse
7
like that, does that
serving 5.
impress you?
I see all the top players hitting the ball with a reverse with their offhand, so impresses me but doesn't surprise
Bad bounce
me.
is a bad bounce? Bad bounce.
What I mean by that, Dave, is the
Bad
right-handed
bounce
players,
on
for
the back
example,
wall.
all come over the ball with their left hand.
He just could have asked.
7 serving 5.
And Paul doesn't really count. Good, right call, though.
Point.
Nice little dump kill there from Luis Moreno. Now
Almost
8
like
to
a
5.
drop shot.
Yeah, just stuck his hand out, let it roll out.
8 serving 5.
Luis very calm in here, Dave.
Yeah. He looks like he believes that he's going to win. It's great to see.
Paul saw it too.
Bad
Everybody
bounce.
saw the
Both
bad
agree.
bounce. Referee really not being proactive here at all.
Right. If you don't tell them, if you don't see it, they just play. They can appeal it later. But you got to they got to stop stopping play like that.
I agree
Oh,
with
okay.
John Bike.
Yeah.
If the referee's not 100% sure, he lets it play out and you can go to the line judges.
Yeah, in a weird way though here, Luis pointed up into the ceiling and then Paul Brady pointed up there too, and you've got both players confirming that, you know, hand signals is the same thing in a way as being vocal and turning around to the ref. And I understand what John said there, Dave, but I think the referee just needs to be more proactive here and stop the play.
Okay. 8 serving 5.
We're at 8 to 5 here.
Replay. 8 serving 5.
You know, Dave, getting back to Luis Moreno pointing. Now, he can point, but the point is over at that point.
Replay.
So at that point, you can't continue playing.
I understand, but Paul also
Right.
continued to play, but also pointed up and.
But the referee has to just say the
8:35.
point's over at that point. Do you want to appeal? You can't point and then keep playing. And we've seen that a number of times here this week. In fact, Dave, in the women's final, we saw
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
we saw women throwing their hands up, wanting the play to stop, and then end up winning the rally, and then all of a sudden you don't hear about it again.
I just think as a referee, when both players acknowledge that they saw a bad bounce,
out.
that
Yeah.
pretty much stops it. You can stop the play as a referee at
Yeah.
that point. That's what I'm saying. You can step in. One
5:39.
player does it, you say play on, but when both do it, you just stop the play.
Side out. 9, serving 5.
We're at 9-5 here.
Point.
Paul Brady completely off balance there.
10, serving 5.
Skips the return of serve. Luis Moreno in control here.
Wow,
Point.
11-5.
11, serving 5.
And you can't say this is too early for Paul Brady.
Point.
It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Ireland right now.
Timeout, Paul. Scores 12, serving 5.
Well, Dave,
you have
you
1
talked
minute.
quite a bit about the 8 a.m. start, but you have to realize, Dave, these golfers will have 6:30 a.m. tee times.
But that's been ingrained in them. This hasn't been ingrained into any handball player ever to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning to start preparing for a professional final where there's a lot of ranking points and cash involved. And it's different, but that's the way it's been here at this event forever. The women had to play at 8 o'clock forever, as you recall, and we were always out here, and there were complaints there as well. And but you know what? The crowd is completely packed right now. I mean, it's standing room only. Let's go to that crowd as the gallery is full. Kara Mack is there. Kara?
Yes, I'm here with Coach Fred Lewis of Moreno's. What is he doing right here in this first game to take such a lead?
He's serving very well. He's making up his mind early as far as his choice of shots, and his shots have been very accurate. He's been hitting the ball hard down the walls. In the beginning, you know, he skipped a couple, but I think that was just, you know, getting the nerves out. And, you know, the key to Luis's game is the serve, and if he can continue to serve and get setups, then he's going to do well.
You've known him for a long time. Ultimately, what would you love to see out of him?
I'd love to see him continue playing like this and play up to his ability, because he's got tremendous ability, and I think if he continues in the same vein, he can win this match.
Thanks, Fred. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Kara. Back into the play here.
Thank you. Side out.
And Dave, Paul hasn't really demonstrated that fifth gear thus far.
5, serving 12.
Didn't really have it in yesterday's semifinal until the tiebreaker.
Side out. 12, serving 5.
In
Point.
2008, Dave, it was an 18-year-old Luis Moreno blitzing
13,
Paul Brady in the
35.
first game, winning that game 21-6. Paul Brady came back and won the second game, and Luis winning
Replay.
11-10 in the tiebreaker after trailing 10-0.
Wow.
Long way to go to match that
13,
type of
serving 5.
excitement, but Luis is off to a good start.
Point.
You remember also in Denver 2014, Luis Moreno winning game number 1, led 16-14 in game number 2 before losing that match in a
14-75.
tiebreaker 11-7.
Side out.
And I felt at the time that was the closest anybody would ever get to Brady again.
5, serving 14.
And you saw yesterday Sean Lenning looked pretty impressive. Not so much in the tiebreaker. That ball was short.
Point. 6, serving 14.
But Brady's not over here. He's got this amazing serve. Wow, how close was Moreno on that?
Points.
And Dave, you were the referee of record yesterday for the women's finals. They were playing very close. And as a
7,
referee, does
serving
it
14.
make you have to like be extra alert?
Point.
Yeah, I think so. You have to be very conscious of
8, serving 14.
players close, but not too close.
Short.
Brady just stepped up his serving to another level here, and he's
Second
just starting
serve.
to score points like really quick.
Point.
Paul has just a different angle and pace on that Z serve. It's very difficult to take that before it bounces. And Luis likes to
9,
do
serving
that with his
14.
E-serve. And quickly,
Point.
5
Timeout.
straight
You
points
have
for
1 minute.
Paul Brady.
Scores 10, serving 14.
And Luis takes timeout. And this is what happens, Dave. I mean, Paul Brady just went from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
It's unbelievable. Really, the score there was 14 to 5, 14 to 6, 5. It's 5 straight points from Paul Brady here, now within 4, and that's striking distance. And Moreno really didn't have to work here, so it's not as if he's out of shape and losing himself. It's just Brady doing all the stuff. I mean, and doing it rather quickly, too. It's game number 1. You're watching the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball as we are live at the Los Caballeros Sports Village in Fountain Valley, California, here on ESPN3 and the Watch ESPN app, where beautiful weather in Southern California mixed in with the greatest promoter in the game, Bruce Fabrizio, Simple Green owner, who's really taken this whole event to a different level. And there he is, as he has brought in 1-wall, 3-wall, 4-wall indoor,
Time in.
and vendors outside selling their gear, their wares, and then the outdoor portable court on the
10,
tennis show
serving
court
14.
out here.
4 of them, as a matter of fact.
It's unbelievable.
Side out.
That's a nice timeout from Luis Moreno.
14, serving 10.
It's an amazing shot from Paul. But
Side
hey,
out.
this match is so different than what we saw between Luis Moreno and Robbie
10,
McCarthy
serving
yesterday,
14.
where we saw a lot of very long rallies, what you'd call methodical. Not nearly as much methodical play here today, which is great for the fans
Point.
who like those highlight reel kill shots.
Like that right there from
Yeah.
Paul Brady.
11, serving 14.
You know, Dave, these guys are, I would say they're now completely woke up. But as they were waking up, they were playing
Side out.
pretty darn good handball.
$14, serving 11.
Surprised Paul Brady
Point.
did not read that hop at all on the serve, and he turned what was a pretty easy return into a huge setup for Luis.
15, serving 11. Short. Second serve. Side out.
That's the high percentage shot on the revolving door with your opponent in front of you. A vicious power hop right
11,
at the
serving
feet.
15.
Even if they're able to return that, Dave, you've got a big setup. Now, unless you've
Point.
got that revolving door Charlie Shanks shot, probably the best
12,
play,
serving 15.
that hard power hop.
Short. Second serve. Point.
Like our referee, Dave, letting the guys play.
13, serving 15. Short.
You know, Dave, we haven't seen any hinders or controversies. That's because the referee is not
Second
stepping
serve.
in. That could have been a double fault.
Point.
Luis now asking for
Shirt
a
change.
shirt change.
Luis Moreno, you have 2 minutes. Scores 14, serving 15.
And Dave, this match is flying
You have a
right now. 29 points in just 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's been great handball. We've seen some just amazing shots And the shots have been so good, Dave, that we haven't seen a lot of great gets because we've just seen so many flat rollouts.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's been really, a top handball. Let's go down to Kara Mack, who's courtside right now. Kara?
I'm with Bruce Fabrizio. This is an amazing tournament you've had this weekend. Having this be the last day, how does it feel?
Well, look at it. It's 8:30 in the morning. The house is full, and the place is rocking. It just couldn't be any better. I've heard nothing but wonderful reports from everybody from all over the country in all 3 disciplines. So it's going to be a really good day.
You don't really see this at 8:30 in the morning on this court typically. So what got you up so early?
Seeing the best in the world. Yeah, everybody's here, and all the right guys are here, and guys turned out from all over the world. So it's a really great Sunday.
What do you think you're going to witness here in this match?
Well, I don't know. It's going to really come down to endurance, I think, because they're both hitting the ball like just a rocket. So it's a matter of who's got the most endurance and who can stay on their feet, I think.
You've been here watching this whole tournament go on all weekend. What are you going to take home as probably your best memory as of right now?
The statements that I got from the crowd about family, about keeping handball together, about it growing, about seeing the next generation coming along, being just absolutely excited about being here. It's really encouraging to see the next generation, even like the Alvarados have their 3rd generation here helping now. So it's for me, it's just great to see it going into its 3rd generation of handball.
What does that mean to you to be able to be such a huge supporter to keep this going?
Well, again, handball I think is the best sport around. It's one of those sports that, as you can see, we've got people playing in their 70s, kids playing, and they're not even 13 years old yet. So there's not a lot of sports that can keep you healthy, keep you competitive, let you take all your aggressions on a court and walk out and just be thrilled to just be here. So it's just a grassroots sport that doesn't have any glitz or glamour. It's just all about competitiveness. It's the egg bar spirit about getting out there, digging in and making yourself better. So for me, it's a heartwarming thing to see continue.
Thank you so much for supporting it this weekend. All right, thank you, Bruce.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kara. As we get back here, game number 1, it is Brady serving at 14-15. He was down at one point, Dave, 5-12.
Score is
5-13.
serving 15.
So he's made a nice little comeback, and it's really been set up from this amazing serve to the left, right there. What he's doing after that and during it.
Replay.
Thus far in the match, Dave, each player calling the timeout has won the next rally following the timeout. Now, this is still considered the next rally since that was a hinder. So we'll see if Luis Moreno can reverse the momentum with that timeout call. And he does not, Dave. So the timeout there from Luis Moreno does not stop Brady's momentum.
15, serving 15.
Now tied at 15.
That's the first time that
In
the
this
timeout
match.
didn't work. Yeah.
In this match.
Point.
And now Brady finally takes a lead here at 16-15. Luis
Remember,
Moreno
Dave,
was up 12-5 earlier and just really rolling. But Brady's serve right now is the best I've ever seen.
16,
it hasn't been
15.
what Luis hasn't done since then. It's been what Paul Brady's been able to do.
Point.
And now the Paul Brady that we've grown to know and love is back.
17, serving 15.
Such a smart play. Forces Luis to pop the ball up and then finds that bottom board.
Side out. 15, serving 17.
Paul throwing his hands up there, Dave, making
Was there
contact.
contact on the backswing when he hit it to the 3-wall?
And Dave, I know you don't like to see the players jarring.
I saw contact. We'll play that over.
Oh, tough. You're saying there was contact there, Dave?
I'm not saying anything.
15, serving 17.
I mean,
I'm not saying anything.
you could drive a Mack truck through the daylight of that between those players.
And Luis looks upset now.
Field
Well,
to serve.
why wouldn't you be?
Called it good. Both disagree.
You're telling me
Second
that
serve.
that contact changed the whole play?
Well, Luis was upset there because
Second
he
serve.
knew that serve was short. Why he didn't give that return much effort.
Unavoidable.
Replay.
No call.
15, serving 17. Short.
Luis not really staying down on that
Second
serve to
serve.
the right. Came up about 4 feet short.
The ball cracked on the front wall.
Side out.
See how Brady gets that elbow up. The early preparation, Dave, and then from there it's just
17, serving
mechanics.
15. Short.
Paul Brady has scored 6 straight points.
Second serve.
12 of the last 15. Make
Point.
that 13 of 16. That was a Nadi Alvarado type of Z serve, Dave. Just scraping the back wall. Impossible to return.
18, serving 15.
Big setup here for Moreno. And he gets it.
Side
Side
out.
out.
$15, serving 18. Side out. $18, serving 15.
Dave, we just mentioned Nadi Alvarado Jr., who's one of the greatest players in the last 25 years, if not of all time. He's going to join us between games here, so you stay tuned. He'll also be playing in the 40-plus final immediately following this match. Paul Brady wasting an opportunity there to score the
18,
19th
serving
point.
15. Point.
And now at 19 to 15.
And Dave, what do you do when
19,
the
serving
momentum
15.
is just completely with the server? You had it, and now you just feel like there's nothing you can do.
I've made it well known. I go up to the player and start talking to him. Make them think that you're their best
Possible
friend.
game point, serving 15.
And if they try to ignore you, then you start saying offensive things about their parents and their family. Because
Okay.
nothing else is going to work. And
Field
there's another
serve.
nice little crack
One
serve
agrees,
to
one
the right
disagrees.
side. And
First game.
that is the first game. It's over. Let's look at the replay here.
Yeah,
Watch
5
what Paul
minutes.
Brady does at 20 to 15.
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
The one
Fist
there
pump
return-
makes me think that it was short.
Well, I think it was short. Can we look at that one more time, even though I know we're officially at the conclusion, and stop that ball when it hits the
looks
ground
short.
there. It looks short to me.
And a fist pump lets me know that it was short.
Let's go back again and stop that ball when it hits the impact of the ground. Back. Yep, definitely short on the ground there. Right? There.
Yeah,
Go back.
Probably.
Right there's the frame. Yep, definitely short.
It is easier to see from up top when you have the space. And if you can see that space, easier to see, believe it or not, live from above the court than it is on camera.
Well, let's talk to Nadi Alvarado really quickly here, as opposed to going to a timeout and to talk to the sponsors. Let's just get Nadi in here, who is in the 40s final, also entered the Open Pro Singles here for the Race for 8. Nadi, how are you feeling here? Are you still a little bitter about the loss against Durham and Nash, or at 43, 44 years old, you're somewhat satisfied with where you're at in the tournament here?
Oh, no. It was a tough loss. I mean, up 2016, couldn't close out that first game, so that was a big momentum shift. And then, actually, fortunate that it did end that way. I just don't have the legs to play against these guys at this point. The training was I thought it was good enough, but it was not even close. I mean, I just got gassed early in that second game, and I knew, boy, I was in trouble. So, I deserve exactly my position is where I'm at right now. So that's right.
It's a good perspective, good way to look at it. But do you think that if you would have defeated Dermot in that first game, do you think that you would have had the match or a good chance of taking that match?
Oh, no, not at all. He's such a steady player. I think that would have been just a momentary setback for him, and he would have come out stronger. And, he kind of indicated that in that second game that he was going to be more, I don't know the best way to say it, but he was very aggressive in that second game. So, can't go back on it. Mm-hmm. That's how it goes.
You had a pretty great consolation having the ability to play in the 40-plus pro singles, where you'll take on your longtime rival, Marco Chavez. You got through your sparring partner and good friend Chris Watkins last night. What was that like, playing Chris on such a big stage here at the tournament that honors your dad?
Yeah, I knew that it would be a tough day for me, only because Chris likes a good crowd, and he plays a lot better. He elevates his game, so I saw a little bit of a different Chris than I did in practice sessions. And then I just didn't play that well last night either. But he, my hat's off to Chris. He played very well last night.
So it's not like Venus and Serena Williams, where it's all predetermined who's going to win the match when they play. When it's you and Chris against each other,
it is predetermined.
Is that predetermined as well?
Well, Chris and I, when we spar back home, there's almost a 10-point spot in our games, and loser either gives another point or takes back a point. So you
lost last night.
I did. I kept thinking about that. I was down.
Does that go for the spot? Does that alter
I'm going to
the spot?
talk to him about it, because he didn't want to move up on 10. The weeks before this, he didn't want to go to 11 or 12, but. So no, it's very tough. I love Chris, family friend, longtime friend, so it's always tough to play someone that you're that close to.
Nani, we saw last night you playing in the 40s, also, of course, playing in the pros. Do you find it difficult to find that same motivation when you're in the 40s as you do playing against the young guys in the pros, where you've established yourself as one of the greats, since the early 1990s?
Yeah, no, it is, Dave. It's a really good point, and that's one of the toughest things that I know that Marcos and I battle in those early rounds. And not to take anything away from those guys that are in the 40s, but it's a whole different vibe when you're playing someone, from Ireland or from our own backyard that, you're spotting 18, 19 years on. But it's a different vibe altogether, and it's hard to replicate that. But it'll be easy to do that today, because Marcos is, one of our top playing pros also.
So it kind of feels more in a strange way. It's a little bit more back to the elite race style of play.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then you can get up for this one. It's also on a big stage. It's on ESPN. And it's against a guy who kind of likes to throw stuff in your face a little bit. And that's actually a compliment to you, because that behavior from him is because he actually knows that you're a top player. Now, he wouldn't do that necessarily against somebody that he knew he could beat, but against you, he has to try to pull out everything. How do you counter that?
Well, I was very fortunate yesterday to actually referee Marcus's morning match against Andy. So he did that stuff with Andy. So it's just like, I think it's Marco's thing. So probably the best thing to do when you have someone going through that little moment of a fit or whatnot, you ignore him. He's not my child, so I can't spank him. But, you have to ignore that kind of play, because it just doesn't – the more you start to think about those things, the more away you are from your game. So.
Well, it's great as fans to watch that sort of interaction develop. And, very likely it will happen today. We've seen it in the last couple of years when you guys have played. There's jarring and there's intensity.
Yeah.
It's going to be
chances are that you're
fun
right
to watch.
Now, is there a chance for you to do that premature fist pump before the play's over, jump over the ball and do the chainsaw celebration?
No.
Can you reserve something like that for us if it gets to the point?
That's not me, but that was kind of funny watching that replay, and it's just exactly
it's not normal, right?
It's not. It's really odd, but whatever. It happens.
Well, I guess, I was going to go a different direction there, but
that's okay.
We want to thank you for coming in here. I know you want to get prepared for that match, because here we have one more game between these two guys. Luis looked great starting off, and then Paul Brady came back and did what he normally does. But as you watch these guys play,
US Open Simple
and
Green
we
Finals.
asked the question to Nani Sr., what else would you want?
Yeah, no, that's a great finish there.
Paul Brady serves
Paul
first.
played very beautifully at that end, and some great kill shots with his offhand that really kind of kept the space between he and his opponent. So that was awesome.
Okay, Nani, go do your warm-up and
Yoga,
get ready for your match next coming up in the 40
Good seeing
finals.
you guys.
Zero,
We'll talk
play
to you later.
zero.
Good
All
luck,
right.
Nani.
Short.
That's a guy right there, Nani Alvarado, like Paul Brady, that really has treated himself like a professional athlete for multiple years.
Second serve.
But you
having
say
him
that
here.
about one player that you highlight, but isn't it most of these players? I mean, you see these guys from Ireland, Dave, and they're
Point.
so serious. I mean, they're here 5-6 days early, and what they're doing at home is just as intense.
I'm just saying, Nani's done it for over 20 years. Some of these guys from Ireland are
Side out.
not even 20 years old yet. They're doing it, yes, but Nani's really wanting to get out of the booth so he can go stretch and take a quick
Zero,
swim
serves one.
as he gets prepared for his match. 0-1 here, game number 2.
Dave, you've been in this position as a top-level
Replay.
player. You pretty much played as well as you could play in that first game. You took the lead, you had the momentum,
Zero,
but you
serve
still
one.
lost. How demoralizing is that?
Yep, it is. But if you're here to win the tournament, you have to prepare
Point.
yourself for that stuff. And this defines the champion. Does a champion give up, or do they try
One
to push
plays
through it?
one.
I think it is demoralizing, but we saw Paul Brady lose his first
Point.
game yesterday, and he didn't get demoralized. He came in and dominated the next 2 games.
Well, remember, Paul Brady, 6 points from being knocked out of this event at 15 all yesterday, and didn't look good at that point.
But then after that, he looked the best we've ever seen. I mean,
Well,
really on top of his game, especially in the server's box.
Yeah, as soon as that ball broke, we saw a different person.
One serves 2. Short. Second serve.
Paul ending that first game on a
Point.
16-3 run.
That's unbelievable.
2 serves
About
2.
10 of those were all from some of the best serves we've ever seen.
And there's
Point.
another one. Now you expect that ball to pop up and come around the revolving door, but Paul just has so much action on it that it just literally
3
dies.
serves 2.
The deuces are wild.
The score is 3-2, I believe. And
Point.
Luis just not committing to hitting the ball hard now. He's starting to scoop the ball and
4 serves 2.
paddle the ball around the court, and it's not going to work against Paul Brady.
Short.
But Paul takes the ability to hit the ball hard away from you because his ball is
Second
coming
serve.
so hard that all you can do is scoop it back. And Dave,
Side
even
out.
though Luis finds the bottom board there, it's not a fluid swing for him.
2 serves 4.
Well, I wish I didn't have that fluid, or I had that not fluid swing. Strange overhand tomahawk there, but Paul's in the back court. Luis is now into that paddle mode, and then
Side
this
out.
hit down at the
Appeal
bottom of
the
the
serve.
hand. Now he's appealing the serve, and he might
One
get
agrees,
it.
one disagrees with me. Side out.
Players have video replay that they're not using. Luis Moreno could
4
have got an
serves 2.
overturned call on that serve there.
It was short.
It definitely was short,
okay.
yeah. Confirmed from the
Side out.
From New
satellite
York.
band. Yep.
Okay.
Satellite band took care of that. In the first game, it was
2
short,
serves 4.
but they ended the game.
I'm not sure that was conclusive enough, though.
Oh, yeah.
Point.
And that's what Luis needs to do. Hit the ball hard and hit the ball with some
3
wrinkle.
serves 4.
And that could have easily been called an avoidable on Luis.
Side out.
And Dave, to me, as a referee, it's a no-brainer. If there's any contact on a back
4
wall
serves
setup, that's
3.
an immediate avoidable.
Short. Heels. Both agree. Second serve.
You know, Dave, we don't see Paul Brady go with that power, deep crack 2-ball serve on his second serve the way we do Sean Lenning or Luis Moreno. And he's got more power than anyone. You'd think that he would master that serve pretty quickly.
Point.
He's mastered that fly kill.
Both of these guys
5 serves 3.
very calm in there. No talking, no screaming at
Short.
each other or themselves. No jarring with the referee. It's just a very clean match.
Second serve.
That's, I think, very rare that you see players engaging in that type of behavior. Maybe we'll see some of that in our next match, but for the most part, Dave, these guys are
Side
just
out.
very focused on what they're doing.
Yep.
3 serves 5. Short. Heels. Both agree. Second serve.
And a
Side out.
terrible error there from Luis, who didn't really commit to that shot and shanks it off
5
the side of his
serves 3.
hand.
Point.
Paul with an inside out pass
6
shot
serves
winner.
3.
And if you're Luis Moreno right here, this is the time when you have to keep Paul Brady close. Maybe take a timeout, go and talk to your coach,
7
Fred Lewis,
serves
see if
3.
there's something that he's seeing.
Short.
Because if this lead grows
Second
to
serve.
8 or 10, very difficult for Luis to come back.
Point.
Paul's just so aggressive right now, maintaining that front court and
8
pouncing
serves
on
3.
every opening.
Short. Fields.
This is the 2015 Simple Green U.S. Open Men's Four-Wall
serve.
Singles Final. It's a rematch of last year's final, won by the server, the 5-time world champion, Paul Brady.
Side out.
Luis with some unorthodox
3
shots.
serves 8. Side out. Eight serves 3. Short. Fields. Both agree.
Paul trying to
Second
lock in
serve.
that short serve with a fist pump. Something about when that ball hits the line, Paul feels the need to pump that right fist.
Side out.
And you see the disappointment there on Paul's face. When he's rolling, he expects to make every shot,
3 serves 8.
and usually does.
Bad bounce. Three serves 8. Replay. No.
Surprising
Sorry, Paul, I'm going to change my
call
call. You
there.
went the wrong way. That's the point.
And Daniel Cordova listening to our crowd here who did not like that call.
I said it's
Strange
the
that Paul would jump so far to the left,
Yes, you went the wrong
completely
way.
took himself out of the play.
4 serving 8.
Had he not jumped so far left, would have been an easy replay call.
Side out.
Luis so frustrated with himself, he attempts to make that shot just for practice and misses it again.
8 serving 4. Short. Second serve.
And I think
Point.
Luis has just lost a little bit of that spring in his
9
legs.
serving 4.
Makes it almost impossible to drive the ball or get low.
Point.
Luis Moreno almost 6 feet tall, so if he's not able to get down and
Serve.
use his legs, there's
Both
really
agree.
not much
Point.
he'll be able to do against Paul Brady.
10 serving 4.
After being outscored 12-5 to start this match, Paul Brady ends game number 1 on a 16-3 run. Now extends that to a 27-7 run. He's outscoring Luis Moreno 4-1 now, Dave, in the last 34 points.
And he looked really good when he loaded up on that instant replay there.
Just does not seem like Luis has the same spring in his legs that he needs, that he had to start this match. And if Luis can't hit the ball 80 or 85 miles per hour like he did to start this match, it's pretty tough for him to dominate rallies against Paul Brady.
And it's because of that serve to the left. It's just unreal. I almost feel like
timeout. Scores 13, serving 4.
Paul is serving to the left over there, and he's just baiting Luis into something that's going to happen later when he serves a real nice fader to the right. But no tricks here. Paul Brady is serving great, and he's planting his feet, hitting the right shots, and Luis Moreno is shoveling. And when Luis gets into that shovel mode, you have to have the most perfect, methodical flip to the back court with your shovels. And I just don't see how that could even possibly happen. Moreno's trying to do his best that he can do, but with that power, it's just nearly impossible. This is the men's finals. Game number 2, Paul Brady wins the first one 21-15, and now here up 13-4, and I don't see really how Moreno can do anything. And after that little scare yesterday with Sean Lenning, and a little bit of a scare here this morning, Paul Brady shows these spurts of being the best player you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah. Well, we see that now about once every event with Paul Brady being pushed in either one game or losing a game and coming back and winning a tiebreaker. Charlie Shanks here last year took him to a tiebreaker, led 4-0 in the tiebreaker before Paul Brady scored 11 straight. At the World Championships, it was Shanks again who nearly won that second game against Brady. Should have. He led 19-15, but Brady comes back and wins yesterday against Sean Lenning. Paul Brady looked completely out of sorts, still finds a way to win, and here today down 12-5. I thought that first game was over.
Right.
Very much, Dave, like the World Championships in 2012 when these two played, and Luis Moreno went up 14-4. Now 12-5 is not quite a substantial lead, but still a pretty big lead. When you're one of the top players in the world, you only need to score 9 more points to win a game when your opponent needs 16.
Point.
And Paul Brady finds a way.
14, serving 4.
As he always does.
Point. 15, serving 4.
Dave, based on how Paul Brady looks right now, I think he could have played 4 more divisions.
Yeah. That's
16,
true.
I mean,
this might be a wake-up call for him in a way, too, saying, you know, the end of my career here, I'm going to enjoy handball just a little bit, and I like it. I like kind of being around here and playing multiple divisions. I see why these guys do it.
But, you know, not only for the enjoyment aspect of it, but I think it's helping him play better. More court time, more ability to get loose, feel the ball, play against top-level players, which he doesn't necessarily get to do at home.
I think playing doubles engages you a lot with a lot more kind of variety, and you become a little bit more worldly in the tournament because there's a lot of strange angles, and you're right, you get to stretch every ounce of your body.
And you know, Dave, in doubles, I know that Paul took over yesterday late in that first game, but for the most part, he's not playing at this kind of intensity, certainly not for the whole match.
Point.
Almost like being on the driving range for him, the doubles.
18, serving 4.
Well, a lot of people forget Paul Brady is an excellent doubles player, but he just doesn't always finish the tournament playing doubles with the same partner. That's not where I was going. He just doesn't always play. This is a nice little rally here. Doesn't make the front wall. Now 18-4. Paul Brady looks like he's going to get that
19, serving 4.
U.S. Open title here.
Point.
I think it's fair to etch now, Dave, unlike when you etched last night, leading to a $500
possible match point
Tahiti donation.
This should be it. And it is. Paul Brady takes down Luis Moreno 21-15, 21-4, and he wins the U.S. Open of Handball Men's Pro Finals here at the Race for 8 Professional Handball Tour and Simple Green U.S. Open, where he did it again. I don't know if he's the most decorated singles champion out here, but it seems like it. Out of 9 years, he's won about 7 titles.
Well, clearly he would be. He's just been incredibly dominant and demonstrated that once again today, showing no signs of slowing down.
We're going to have the on-court presentation. Let's go over to Kara Mack, who is courtside right now with Paul Brady. Let's go to her, Kara.
He's going to run out and get a drink really quick. Do you want to run out and get a drink? That's perfectly fine. If you need one.
Okay, Kara. Hey, as you sat courtside there and watched Paul Brady and Luis Moreno, and you also track handball and you've talked to these players, what could Luis even possibly do with that serving barrage that Paul was giving him?
And it's the hard thing too. Paul said yesterday how much he needed to somewhat regroup for today, and you saw him do that in that second game. So I don't know if there was much he could do, but I have him with me now. And I was just saying how yesterday after your match you were talking about needing to regroup a little bit, think over some things, come out strong today. Obviously did that. How does it feel coming out of it?
I feel good, obviously. Still not probably where I want to be, a bit perfectionist. So I started off slow again. So look, I'm just happy that I've won and take the winter off now and relax and enjoy life.
Speaking of Moreno coming out of that first game, what was he doing right? What was he kind of coming as the challenger knowing that he needed to do?
Just his serves was putting me under a lot of pressure, and I knew if I could just get a serve return that was adequate, just put him under a little bit of pressure, I felt I could get back into the game, and that's what happened.
You kind of nailed down what it is for you, because once you get into gear, there's no stopping you, and there's a point when you do that, and then your opponent's kind of dead right there on the spot. What is it that kicks in for you?
I suppose I just started concentrating on my serve, and just the next shot as well, that I wasn't rushing the next shot. I was kind of rushing my second shot at the early part of the game, so just try to relax, and I kept telling myself, I've been here before, and just relax and just concentrate on the basics, get my serve right, get my return to serve right, and when I have an opportunity to take my time and just shoot. So I started to do that a wee bit better, and then I relaxed in the second game, and it got easier from there.
You spoke yesterday about the importance of this tournament to you, but how does it feel knowing that you've won it?
It feels great, obviously. It's just great. Now we're going to Vegas for a few days, a few of us, so be able to relax and enjoy myself now. I've got the doubles final next, so I want to go and try and win that as well.
I can't think of how many times you said that to me after winning this, that you're going to go to Vegas. Is that now kind of the tradition if this all goes down the way that you want it to?
Well, it's just it's a bit of downtime. You don't get much chance to have a holiday, so this tournament usually marks the end of the year, so it's a chance to just relax by the pool for a few days. We don't get much sun in Ireland, so I have a few days now just to relax and just take it easy, and unwind before the winter.
All right, and I know I have some guys over there excited to present this to you, so we're going to hand it over to them. Come on over. Nadia, are you ready for us? All right, perfect. I've asked him away, so he's done a lot of answering already. We want to thank you, too, Jen. I'll hold this for you. Come on over, Paul. Congratulations again.
Hello, everybody. I want to know if you like the finals. I'd like to know by a big applause to our national champion, our U.S. Open of Handball champion, and I want to hear this for a nice Mr. Fabricio, the Simple Green sponsor. So I want to hear you guys clap for him. There is no doubt that this tournament is coming to be the best tournament that we had, and Simple Green, along with the 25th Natty Alvarado, it's just been an awesome tournament, and we want to thank you all for coming, and especially our participants and players such as Luis Moreno and Paul Brady. Thank you so much for a great match. And Luis, you can come over here and then we'll do the presentation of the medal. Obviously, the medal is just part of the presentation, but they also get a nice fat check from Mr. Bruce Fabricio, Simple Green, our title sponsor. Now, And yeah, he wants to check. And now to our, again, champion, Paul Brady, who is the 4th or 5th now title. I think it's the 5th now. It's the 5th. So congratulations again. A well played match again. And that's why you are the #1 player in the world. And here, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Brady, U.S. Open 2015 national champion and U.S. Open champion.
And world champion. And everything else he's ever played.
Again, Mr. Fabricio.
Champion.
Giving the big check.
Brady, well earned. Absolutely outstanding. Always wonderful to see. We're going to call it the Paul Brady Trophy from here on, I think. There you go.
Yeah, I think he's going to say something.
I just want to, first of all, thank Luis for a good game. Just hard luck today. And just to thank you guys for an excellent run tournament. As you say, it's probably nearly superior to nationals now. It's just a festival of handball, so that's testament to you, the Alvarado family, and Bruce and Mark. You know, there's a lot of people behind the scenes there that make this a great tournament. And finally, a big thank you to Bruce. I suppose, you know, this tournament has made such a difference to my life. I don't think you realise how much it allowed me to train almost on a full-time basis over the years. And I wouldn't have achieved the goals I have if it wasn't for your generosity. So I want to thank you very much for that. Thanks very much. Thank you. So just a big thank you to Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're going to take the picture for the Handball magazine, and then we're going to start, as soon as we're done here, we're going to start with the men's 40 open singles. Okay, and that's a new division that the WPH has created, and Mr. Fabricio is sponsoring again. Thank you.
I want to thank Bruce Fabrizio for his work with Simple Green, and look at all the hats being thrown out here. That's a tradition at the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball. Gracious in defeat is Luis Moreno. Gracious in victory is Paul Brady. And you see Nadia Alvarado Sr. doing a little bit of grooming there to make sure that Paul Brady's hair was exactly perfect. That's funny, as they are here on the show card. We're going to say goodbye for now and come back in just about 10 minutes or so as Nadia Alvarado Jr., Nadia Sr.'s son, will be playing Marco Chavez, his biggest foe in the 40-plus senior division, as that is a ranked event with the Race for 8 Professional Handball Tour with the World Players of Handball. For Dave Fink, my name is Dave Vincent, as well as Kara Mack. We'll be back in just a bit here at ESPN3, streaming at WatchESPN.